Alright, my babies. Let's try again. It's the third time I try to make a video, and every time I do that, I go on a tangent. That means there's a lot happening, or there's a lot I want to talk about. But what I do is I kind of like make the video regardless. I realize I'm going on a tangent, and I basically like make the video. And in the process, I kind of like shoot small. I do what in the process? I just rant. I still save them though. But yeah. It's an interesting video today, but I'm gonna read you a poem that I used in an article this month. And the poem is Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Do you remember me or not at all? Whenever I'm looking at you, was I ever looking at you? Or just a reflection on that a reflection you would call? I haven't had coffee in a while. Oh. Amazing. And that is it. That's literally it. A part of me, because I already used this, right? Because I had already used, written this, doesn't want to talk about it. But let's just go with the fucking flow, right? There's a mirror on the wall, one that I look at. And I ask the question, do you remember me or not at all? So, am I looking at me who is new or a memory of me? What is that image of me that I'm looking at? Was I ever looking at you? It's like when I looked at the mirror, I was like, right now, am I looking at myself? Like the difference between the camera and myself is basically like when I'm looking at the camera, I actually see the camera, but the camera projects what it sees on the screen. So when I'm talking to you, most of the time I'm talking to the camera or I'm talking to the screen, right? There's a big difference, or you can kind of tell. Well, when it comes to a mirror, you just look at anywhere you're looking at yourself, but you're seeing yourself. Anywhere you're looking, you're seeing yourself, but you're looking at the mirror, right? But are you actually looking at the mirror? Like, are you actually like seeing the mirror truly for what it is? Was I ever looking at you? Right? Was I ever looking at the mirror, or just a reflection that you would call? Now, I'm gonna take you back to a Taoist / Zen / Buddhist saying. And it's about the geese that fly over the lake. The geese don't care to shed to cast their form on the lake, because if you're looking at the geese flying on top of the lake, you can see their reflection. They don't care to reflect themselves, to show themselves to be reflected. And the lake doesn't care to reflect them. But there's something a bit more the thing about that caught my eye is the geese is flying. Well, the goose is flying. It is moving, which means as it moves, it is casting its reflection. Every single moment, it's just moving. It's casting its reflection, whether intentional or not. And then the actual lake in itself is reflecting it moment by moment and forgetting it moment by moment. What's interesting about this, I don't know, is the existence of this image that dies with movement. The existence of this image that basically happens naturally. in order for the world to find its place, or for the world to understand its place, or something. Because if I look at the mirror, I can see myself, right? The minute I leave, the mirror goes back to reflecting maybe the wall or whatever's behind, whatever was behind me when I was there, or whatever. When I was looking at the mirror, I was looking at me. But I'm also looking at a projection that I'm seeing, right? Because I could be looking at, I could be projecting happy, sad, up, down. I could be projecting casual, formal, whatever. I could be projecting any of that shit as well. And the mirror just reflects, right? So definitely that's the inspiration for the show small, for this mini poem. But the funny part is literally like, like, do you remember me? Like, what was I looking at? And that was 2024, sorry. In 2024, I have moved on my own. Found somebody who wanted to invest in me. And I feel today I have lost them. Or over the past couple of weeks, I have lost them. Or at the very least, I lost the person they saw and the person I projected. Because I was never looking at the mirror, was I? I was never looking at... When you look at the world, are you looking at what it's showing you, or are you just seeing the projection of yourself in it? It's funny, the more you look at a tree, the more details you explore, right? It kind of projects your attention, that shallow attention that you kind of gave it. Right, because we don't really project shapes, do we? When I'm looking at my face, sometimes I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm looking excited. And other times I'm going like, oh, look at me, I'm looking a certain kind of way. Right? The people, their patterns, or at the very least, we kind of all share same dimensions, whether it's hands, fingers, like hair, nose, all that kind of shit. But what do we truly see when we look at each other? If not the little pieces of ourselves that have yet to be resolved. And because I think those are what stand in the way, because as we are speaking to others or interacting with others, what effectively we are doing is we're only going to be able to connect with the parts of us that are kind of like, recognized, and the parts of us that are kind of like within whatever's within our current structure. And I mean, if I'm going to water the plants and there's a stone lodged in the actual pipe, I might still get water out, but chances are I'm going to be hitting the stone. Well, chances are. It won't be smooth water. So our projection of ourselves, our kind of like expression of ourselves, is kind of like, it's controlled by this belief system that was at one point layered on top of who we are. And that seems to be kind of like, that seems to be the lens, or one of the lenses that we are able to like look at the world. And so it can't be helped. The design in its own self is for us to show us, is for the world to show us those angles that we kind of like are missing. It does not fucking matter. Once you put a filter in front of a lens, the color is going to change. Or the shape, or the detail, or the accent, or whatever is going to change. It can't be helped. There's nothing we can do about it. But that does not necessarily, and our goal is just to go like, that's not the way things look. Because we tend to look at reality or just accept whatever is relevant for us as the truth. And eventually, if we don't come to terms with it, if we don't openly question it, right? If we don't openly give it a chance to give us more details, so the truth shifts, changes, explores itself, or just is exposed. If we don't do that, then ultimately I feel like we'll be adding a lot more layers in our interaction with everything. It ends up being us interacting with the world in the form of what we want out of it versus how it is. I think this is part one. I'm coming back to part two.